A woman stands in the kitchen at 11 p.m. exhausted, eating cold leftovers straight from the container because she skipped dinner again trying to finish one more work task before bed. She's 22 weeks pregnant, and somewhere between the deadlines, the nausea, and the mental load of preparing for a whole new human being, she forgot to take care of herself today, not because she doesn't love her baby, because she loves everyone else just a little too much, and herself just a little too last. That moment right there, that ordinary, invisible moment can shape the brain and body of the child growing inside her in ways that most pregnancy content never talks about. Not the dramatic stuff, the quiet, daily stuff that nobody warns you about. Stay with Mind Root Parenting all the way through this video, because what we're covering today isn't a list of things to feel guilty about, it's a map back to something most pregnant mothers are desperately looking for: clarity, confidence, and the real science behind what actually matters for your baby right now. Here's what makes pregnancy uniquely overwhelming in a way that's hard to put into words. You are trying to prepare for someone you haven't met yet, while simultaneously growing them inside your own body, while being flooded with conflicting advice from every direction: your mother, your doctor, strangers on the internet, that one friend who had a baby 2 years ago and now considers herself a medical professional. And underneath all of that noise, most pregnant women carry a quiet, exhausting fear. The fear that they're already getting something wrong, that they've already eaten the wrong thing, felt the wrong emotion, worked too many hours, or rested too few. The emotional weight of that uncertainty is real, and it is heavy. What makes it worse is that most of the popular pregnancy content focuses on the physical: what to eat, what to avoid, what to buy. And while those things matter, they almost completely ignore the psychological and neurological environment a mother creates for her baby, one that begins long before birth and shapes the architecture of that child's developing brain. These aren't rare medical complications. These are everyday patterns that are incredibly common, almost never talked about, and entirely changeable once you know what to look for. To understand why these mistakes matter so much, you need to understand one fundamental truth about fetal development: your baby's brain is not waiting for birth to start developing. By the second trimester, the fetal nervous system is already sensitive to the hormonal environment inside the womb. Cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone, crosses the placental barrier. What a mother chronically feels, her baby is chemically exposed to. This isn't about blame. This is about biology. Researchers studying prenatal development have found that sustained high cortisol levels during pregnancy can affect fetal brain development, particularly in regions tied to stress regulation and emotional processing. The concept of fetal programming tells us that the womb environment literally primes certain biological systems before a baby ever takes a first breath. At the same time, the developing fetal brain is exquisitely responsive to positive inputs, to rhythm, to voice, to calm, to nourishment. This is why the mistakes we're about to cover aren't about perfection. They're about understanding which daily patterns support that developing nervous system and which ones quietly work against it. Every single one of them is within a mother's power to shift. The first and most pervasive mistake is chronic stress without a recovery practice. Not stress itself. Stress is unavoidable, and your baby's system actually benefits from learning to respond to manageable stress. The problem is unrelenting stress with no physiological recovery. No moment where your nervous system genuinely downshifts. The solution is not meditation apps or bubble baths, unless those actually work for you. The solution is what researchers call a co-regulation anchor, a specific, repeatable daily practice that reliably activates your parasympathetic nervous system. For some women, that's 10 minutes of slow, intentional breathing before sleep. For others, it's a short walk without a phone. For others, it's 5 minutes of lying down with one hand on the belly and genuinely doing nothing. The science isn't in the activity. The science is in the consistency. Your nervous system learns safety through repetition. When you build a reliable daily moment of calm, you are not just reducing your stress levels, you are bathing your baby's developing brain in a different hormonal environment. That is not a small thing. That is one of the most powerful prenatal investments you can make, and it costs nothing. The second mistake is social isolation during pregnancy, and this one catches many women completely off guard, because Isolation during pregnancy often doesn't look like loneliness. It looks like being busy. It looks like declining invitations because you're tired. It looks like spending evenings on your phone instead of in genuine human connection. It looks like losing touch with close friendships because life got complicated. Human connection during pregnancy isn't just emotionally comforting, it is neurologically regulating. When we spend real, present time with people we feel safe with, our bodies release oxytocin. Oxytocin reduces cortisol. It promotes feelings of safety and belonging, and that internal chemistry directly benefits the prenatal environment. The actionable step here is intentional, low-effort connection. You do not need to maintain a social life at full capacity. You need 1 or 2 relationships where you can show up honestly, without performing wellness. A weekly phone call with someone who makes you feel safe. A standing coffee with a friend who doesn't require you to have it. Together, connection doesn't need to be elaborate, it needs to be real. Protect those small windows of genuine human warmth during pregnancy, they matter more than almost anything else on your to-do list. The third mistake, and arguably the most invisible, is the complete neglect of emotional processing. Most pregnant women are preparing for a baby in every logistical sense: the nursery, the hospital bag, the birth plan. Very few are preparing emotionally, and this gap is significant. Unprocessed emotions during pregnancy, unexamined fears about labor, unresolved grief, anxiety about identity, complicated feelings about one's own childhood don't disappear, they accumulate. They express themselves physically in the body. They elevate stress hormones. And they often emerge postpartum with far more force than they would have if they had been gently acknowledged earlier. The solution here is not therapy, though therapy is genuinely valuable if it's accessible. The solution is a regular practice of emotional acknowledgement. This can be as simple as a nightly journal where you write, without censorship, what you actually felt that day. Not what you think you should feel. Not a gratitude list, what you actually felt. Fear, grief, anger, confusion, joy, all of it. Research on expressive writing consistently shows that emotional acknowledgement through writing reduces physiological stress markers. You are not being dramatic when you process your pregnancy emotions. You are doing some of the most important neurological work of this entire journey. Here is what is true about you. The fact that you are watching a video like this, asking these questions, caring this deeply, that is not an anxious mother trying to be perfect. That is an attuned mother already doing the most essential thing, which is paying attention. You will not get every day right. Neither will anyone else. But the baby growing inside you does not need a perfect environment. They need a mother who keeps coming back to herself, who rests when she can, connects when she's lonely, and is gentle enough with her own nervous system to make space for theirs. That is something you are already capable of, and that is enough.